All right, everybody. Today I'm with Ashley Sanders. She is the co-host and co-creator of Girls Ask Guys Anything dating show / podcast. And they also have a website. And I think that is girlsaskguyshow.com. So be sure to check out her website. And I think they have courses on there as well, right?
We have one course. It's called Dateable You. And it's basically an total intrinsic walk into who you are. Mm-hmm. And then we talk about getting dates. So there's literally a 25-page module on character traits. And you developing it's very inclusive, very intense. It's insane. It has taken us probably about 6 months to create, which I thought, we were going to do a course. It's going to take us 2 weeks. We got into it. We fell down the rabbit hole of dating and becoming your best self. And I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Oh, that's awesome. So today what we're going to talk about is why you're not getting dates. And I believe through Ashley's website, she's collected lots of data on why people are not getting dates, why people are struggling in relationships, and all other kind of relationship problems like that. So let's first start with, let me put over here just in case so I can keep an eye on in case someone pops in the room. Let's start with maybe your top 5 or top 10 reasons why you're not getting dates.
The first reason most people don't get dates is because their personality doesn't match their appearance. So what'll happen is, let's say you're at a gym and you say, I'm this high profile guy. I'm a Wall Street banker. And then, would you like to go get a drink with me? They go back to your car. It's a 1960, it's a 1970 broke down Honda Accord. You're asking them to pay for drinks. You're telling them how wonderful you are, but you can't physically produce it. And that's one of the reasons most people don't get dates or get calls back, because you're incongruent. And that's a big red flag for most women or men. I mean, we had a guy that we worked with one time and he literally drove a Lamborghini that he was renting, by the way. Yeah, he was renting it. So then when it came time to renew for the month and he couldn't, he had to go back to his Honda Civic. And it was a very hard thing for the woman to really kind of connect, because she was like, you just lied to me for a whole month. So incongruent personality versus appearance is one of the biggest reasons most people don't get a call back. There's a difference between putting your best foot forward and completely lying to somebody. Right. Of course, you want them to see your best self, but you don't want it to be the best self on your vision board. It's the best self who you are right now.
Right. Do you ever think that if it's possible that it's almost the opposite, like someone is totally amazing personality-wise, but then maybe looks or appearance or personal hygiene, they don't...
hygiene, yeah. Hygiene's a huge thing. Hygiene is, if you have bad hygiene, just work on that, please. Like, stop everything you're doing in life and work on not smelling bad and, brushing your teeth every day. Because if you fall into a depression, we've talked about this before. If you fall into a depression, it's hard to maintain just being hygienic. Right. When you're super depressed, you'll go 5 to 10 days without a shower and you don't care. Wow. But once you start, it happens. I mean, brushing your teeth has to be a habit sometimes for some people. So, I mean, hygiene, yes. But looks, what we found actually is looks only matter in transactional relationships. So it's, you're going to be my arm candy. I'm going to be providing for you for the rest of your life. Right. Most people with long-term attraction relationships, you get over the looks real quick, especially if the person is emotionally stable and you've been through the ringer. You know what I mean? Like if someone, you've been abused and all those things, and some guy who's like a 4 comes along and he supports you emotionally, he makes sure that you're taken care of and all those things. Looks are very easy to bypass. Nobody can help how they look to a certain degree. So once your personality and your physical, your physical view of yourself, not necessarily the way you look, but the physical view of yourself match, you're good to go. Don't, never think if someone's out of my league. It's not true. Leagues don't exist. And when they do, it's transactional.
Well, let me ask you this. Why do you think people are attracted to the wrong people?
If you mean like why or well, sometimes it's an attraction based on their upbringing. So some people are raised in, very waspy neighborhoods where there's a tea time and all those things. And it's just so much societal pressure. They meet some beatnik on the street smoking a joint and they're like, I need this in my life. Regardless of if the fact that person's on heroin or not, you know what I mean? Like they just need that break from society, and vice versa. Some people grow up on a really bad side of the tracks. They see this ideal life they want, no matter how distant their parents are, how tough emotionally that those people's families are, they want that. So when you're attracted to someone opposite, you just want to break from your traditional life.
Oh, that's interesting. All right. So the number one is you should be congruent with who you are or who you present yourself to be. If you're going to be a big, high roller, then you should be a high roller, not faking it.
Right. Don't rack up $30,000 in debt because you want to impress somebody. That's ridiculous.
Right. All right. What's number two?
Number two is usually, aside from incongruent, you're absolutely over the line when it comes to the physical aspect of a relationship. You're taking advantage of it in a very uncomfortable way. And this happens with everybody. Sometimes people get too touchy. And it's the first date, and you want to sit right by them at the restaurant. You don't necessarily sit far away, but don't sit right up on them. Don't touch them constantly. Respect their boundaries. When it comes to leading and following in relationships, it's very consensual. So if someone grabs your hand and you don't feel that, grab it back, or don't grab back. Sorry, pull it back and let them know that's not okay. And vice versa for anyone. If they try and touch you and it's good, then it's a good touch and let it go. But usually people are way too quick with the physicality of things to really build that relationship that the person's looking for.
All right. Let me ask you this. I generally agree with you, but I've come into some information before just talking around. And do you believe this is true, that some women really want the guy to be physical with them? They want the guy to, they want them to take these first steps, and they want them to take control, be the one, I don't know if in charge is the right word.
Yeah, no, that's right.
And sometimes they may resist a little bit because maybe it's cultural or societal that they shouldn't be, but they really want to, and they really want the guy that pushes them to the next level.
Yeah, that's actually true. It's for a scary amount of people. And what I say to those people is literally, we tell them all the time, you just be completely honest. You say, listen, this is wrong. I know that, but this is what I feel. And you kind of go for it. A relationship is not between you and the world. It's between you and that person. Right. So regardless of what anyone else thinks, even if you guys are doing it in secret because you don't want word to get out, you know what I mean? You don't want people to see you as a hussy. Just be honest with your partner. You have nothing. You're the only person, or they're the only person who you have to be honest with when it comes to defining your relationship. Everyone else doesn't matter. So even if it seems like this is wrong, but you feel it, I mean, just go for it. It's okay. Nobody else has to know. I'm very big on private lives. Right.
What do you think about this? Do you think women are testing men without their knowledge often or all the time, putting men through tests?
All the time. All the time, constantly, and sometimes accidentally, and I'm not a big fan of testing. I believe in open and honest communication on everything. I don't think tests are fun. I think it sets somebody up to fail, because if you have an expectation, it's just a resentment that you're making. You know what I mean? Like you're literally starting to make a resentment. So to say, I'm going to see if he jumps at this, I'm going to pretend my leg is broken, or I'm going to pretend I fell and see how quickly he gets there. What's the right answer? Because you didn't actually fall, so you made him leave your. You know what I mean? Right. What's right about that? So while it's true, I don't think it's okay for anyone to do that. I think it's easy.
Right. Okay. Very interesting. Let's go with number 3.
Okay, so I said
incongruency, and then we said, oh gosh, how could I just forget that? Because we got sidetracked so much.
Oh, physicality.
Too much physicality too early, or without permission.
Very consensual. Consensual is not just a one conversation; it's continual. So always be having that. And the third one is really pretending to be a friend.
Oh, interesting.
This is something a lot of people do, and it's on both sides. You go in and say, hey, and the best example we can do is you meet someone you're attracted to and they're in a relationship. Right. So you pretend like you're their friend. And then when they break up, you swoop in, like some sort of freaking vulture. Right. And then if you don't get rejected, you're excited. If you do, the friendship's over. So the reason you're not getting that call back from that person is because they trusted you with their emotions as a friend. And instead of actually being a friend, you went in and manipulated them into thinking you were something else. So that's another reason you're not getting callbacks. If you're pretending to be someone's friend, if you're pretending to care about someone just in hopes you're going to get a relationship with them, you're ruining it.
I guess it's best if you were a person and you, in that example that you used, the person was in the relationship, you just kind of say, hey, I'm interested, if you're not in it anymore.
That's it. Yeah. And then if they say no, they say no. If they say yes, they say yes, but you continue to be their friend. If they say no and you freak the fuck out, or I don't know if we can say
that's okay. I don't mind.
Okay. And you freak the fuck out. Like it shows more about your character. It shows that you're a manipulator and that there's a red flag there.
That's interesting. Do you think that manipulators is that a big thing that you see out there?
Oh yeah, it's unfortunately the way relationships used to work. Manipulation was pretty much the tactic. I'm going to trick this person into thinking I'm perfect, and then when we get married and we move in together, I'm going to completely devolve into some sort of animal. And that's not, it's not even a man thing; it's a man and woman thing.
Right.
And so. That's what it is. That's really what it is.
Yeah. Sometimes I think we can, like we're just, I mean, nobody's perfect, obviously, but we're just kind of like a planet of messed up beings walking around.
A lot of individuals who are just messed up, and that's all right. We're all human. How could you not be? Right. I mean, you live 10 years, something horrible is bound to happen. So you multiply that by 3. You know what I mean? Like it's inevitable.
Let me ask you this. I'm going to sidetrack for a second, but have you come? Somebody's. I think it's one of those Amber Alerts. Do you guys get those on your phones?
Oh yeah, I turn those off.
I guess somebody's got their car stolen or something somewhere.
Yeah, I turn those off. I can't help them.
Excuse me. What have you seen? Have you guys been discussing COVID dating or
yes,
quarantine dating? What have you?
Yeah.
Please update me on what you've been seeing about that.
What we've been seeing is a lot of people are getting more responses on Tinder, Bumble, what have you. The problem is nobody's trying to follow through with that actual first date. People are kind of just passing the time by flirting with each other. In my opinion, it's the best time to meet somebody because you have all that time to get to know them. And you have like 3-4 weeks to get to know somebody. And then you guys can finally go out. The world's opening back up now. And now that you've made, 20 connections and people are like, oh, the world's opening up. Let's go on a date. And you're like, ooh, I didn't mean it that way. Yeah. I just want to be friends.
Right. Let me ask you this, because I don't, obviously I've been married for a long time and I'm not in the dating world. I haven't been in a long time, but I thought that isn't Tinder isn't that supposed to be a hookup site versus one of them is like, we're more like, I don't know, what's the one they advertise on TV? Match, or there's another one. There's an elderly guy on TV all the time.
I think you're talking about eHarmony.
Yeah, that's the guy. You probably fill out a million things and their algorithms hook you up. But I thought that the Tinder thing was more just like a hookup thing, or is that really a dating site too?
They're all the same. I mean, like, honestly, if you're looking for a hookup, you're going to be looking for a hookup no matter which one you go on. Right. And if you're looking for a relationship, you're going to be looking for a relationship. Tinder is more superficial because it has a swipe feature. But most dating websites are now updating that feature into their own website or their own app. And then, you kind of like click the picture and you see their whole entire biography and what they had for breakfast and all those good things. So, I mean, it's all really the same. You get what you put in.
Let me ask you. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and that's about it, really.
Do you actually, in your course that you offer, do you guys coach people on their online bios?
No, we don't. And the reason we don't do that is because we have them kind of write a mantra. And we have them write their strong suits and the things they're really good at and the things they're really bad at. And from there, it's literally it's almost the exact same to where we don't have to coach you on it. You know your limitations physically, mentally, what you're looking for, how many kids you want, all those things. So we kind of, without thinking about it, I guess we kind of write the bios for them.
Oh, interesting. Are there a lot of people that are out there that are actually looking for coaching?
Yeah, actually, you'd be surprised how many people are so afraid to meet people, which me and John, my co-host, we come from totally different backgrounds. He's very introverted, very he was a very shy kid when he was younger, so he never really talked to people and talked to girls. And he had a camera, which is the way he expressed himself. I, on the other hand, just talked to everybody and anybody walking down the street. So I didn't know there was a market for this until we started getting the questions, until we started, really getting into the show, because I just thought everybody was social. I never really thought about it, but there's a huge market and people really need the help. And it's not sad. It's just some people don't understand that men and women basically usually want the same things. Everybody wants to have sex. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to love somebody.
Right.
That's really all it comes down to.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Do you think that now most of the dating occurs, or most people are meeting each other, it's mostly from online, or is it actual obviously if you're in college or you're in high school, whatever, high school, college, you meet people there, or maybe at the workplace, it's probably not a good idea, but is it much less, in the older days, it was maybe you meet someone at a bar or a club. Is it much less of that now and more online, or is it still meeting people at the clubs and bars as well?
It's definitely much more online. It's to the point where people don't even really like to be seen alone anymore. So, you go to a bar. When you go to a bar, you're going either with a group of friends or you're going to meet that person. You're not going to hope to meet somebody. It's just, it's an online world. From emails to talking to dating, it's all pretty much online.
Right. Yeah. I wonder if also, and I'm not, oh, wow. I have a bunch of there. Here we go. I'm going to ask you this question in 1 second, from Two Dudes Reviews that's here. But, let me finish my thought and then we'll get his question. What was I saying? Gosh, I just lost my train of thought. I was going to have a follow-up question to that. I just kind of glanced over just for curiosity to see if somebody was here, and then I totally lost my train of thought. But here's what I was going to say is that, do you think that the online world is making it that people are less physically social? And
no, I think people...
I'm not asking that to complain because I'm totally for tech and everything. I'm just curious that, especially maybe since you may have more insight to this than I do.
I think people intrinsically seek out other people to go out with. I don't think I've never, bars are closing not because of a lack of social, but because their drinks are too damn high. You know what I mean? Like it's people, if you want to go out, you're going out. I mean, even sometimes with this COVID thing, people are getting stuck in their house. They're going for walks. You're seeing your neighbors for the first time and talking to them across the fence yard. So I think people intrinsically search people out. So it's never going to be a point where we're not social. It's just, we make plans now and we confirm them and all of those things. It's just a more confirmation-based world.
Right. All right. Let's see what Two Dudes says. Let's see. Would you choose a guy holding a dog in a dating app pic over a guy without any pets in the pic? That's interesting. Pets or no pets?
This is you want to laugh. This is a real thing. There's real studies about this. Pets work. Wow. People love dogs. If it's not your dog, don't put it up there because people are going to want to see it. You'll see in people's profiles, swipe right if you have a dog. It's a real, it's a whole phenomenon. It blows my mind because I don't care either way.
Wow.
But most people, they love to see you with animals. It's people are weird, man.
Well, maybe they think if you have, maybe at least if they think you have an animal, or if you have an animal, they think that you're probably kind. But, you could always have someone that beats their animals. Anyways.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. But, perception over reality.
Absolutely, yeah. If you have a dog, always post the dog. Women love dogs.
Women love dogs. So that's cats or not. Cats are out.
Cats are hit and miss. But yeah, most people love animals. I mean, if you go to a petting zoo, take a picture with a baby goat. You'd be surprised how many people will love it. Oh, yeah. Wow. People love baby animals.
All right. So you hear that, dude? Girls love dogs. That's
take a picture with them. Yeah.
All right. We have another question. How much info is too much info when you're sharing on your dating profile? And
I love this question.
And what about taboo subjects?
I love this question.
Oh, great.
I do. We talk about this all the time. There's technically such a thing as too much info. Here's the thing. everybody wants to know your favorite movies. Everybody wants to know your favorite color. Everybody wants to know all of those things. When it comes to taboo things, leave them in a private message. This way, you aren't being judged outwardly based on your sexual preference.
Right.
Because sometimes, here's what happens, and this is such a crappy thing people do. They'll screenshot your picture and they'll post it on a Facebook group saying, look at this creep.
Whoa.
Just because of something you're into. You could be the nicest guy in the world and people will judge you based on that. What you want to do is wait when it comes to taboo things. This way, at least you have a baseline and an established personality, and you guys can consensually come to an agreement when it comes to things like that.
Wow, that's very interesting. Yeah. All right. And the top 5. Well, we've already gone through. He was asking, what are the top 5? He wasn't here. So the top 1 was be congruent with who you are. Number 2 was, there was one about
physicality. Don't
get physical too quickly. Did we get to number 3 or we haven't started?
Yeah, I think we just did number 3 and I literally can't remember. I
can't remember that
either. So let's go with number 3 as incongruence. And then also one of the reasons, number 3 was lying about your intentions.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like being a fake friend.
Right. And so then, fake friend.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, fake friend. That's absolutely it. So then number 4 would be you don't have a job. And I know, I know that sounds like, well, that's messed up. And it's not that you don't have a high profile job. It's that you have no job. Wow. And the reason is, when you hit a certain age, you are expected to have certain milestones.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter if you went to college. It doesn't matter if you work at Dunkin' Donuts. It doesn't matter where you work. But for an adult woman or an adult male to see another adult not putting forth the bare minimum effort in life is a giant red flag. You know,
wow.
Living with your parents, believe it or not, is okay because a lot of people in my generation can't afford to live on their own.
Right.
But as long as you're maintaining or you're in school, so don't say, oh, well, I'm in school, I'm not in a job. That's if you're in law school, that's okay.
Right.
But I mean, you're sitting at home every day. You're sitting in your underwear playing video games and crying in your pillow every night because you drank too much. That there's milestones that you're expected to hit at a certain age. If you're a teenager, you don't have a job, it's fine. I mean, most of the time you're not going to marry your high school sweetheart anyway. So, but when you turn like 23, you need to start getting it together. Wrap it up. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's the truth.
Is there a lot of people that are out there that don't have jobs?
There's an alarming amount.
Wow. I'm kind of shocked by that.
No, don't be. I was very shocked by that too, because I thought, maybe your parents would start to hold you accountable after a certain age, because that's just how it is in my house. But no, you'd be surprised.
I would consider it kind of like I was the opposite. I was, I always wanted money. And I just had to go hustle and do something so I could get some cash.
That's it.
Otherwise, I was, didn't have any cash.
Yeah, right. Like, how do you buy things?
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So, have a job. Okay, you would think that would be an obvious one, but
you would think.
I would think so. All right.
People are, and then what are we on? That's 5. We're on number 5.
Yes.
Number 5. Then the number 5 reason you can't get a date or a callback is because you were talking too much. You were blowing the person up. You were overbearing in the conversation, and now you are labeled as weird. And I understand eagerness as someone who has to learn how to tame eagerness. It's a real thing. You get very excited. This person talks to you. You're like, oh my God, they gave me attention. Now I have to talk to them 24/7. No. Keep it light, keep it simple, keep it easy to transition into, hey, would you like to go get a drink? Don't overload, don't get too bad into your traumas. Those things are reserved for later. I do advocate for putting everything on the table, but there's a timeline in which you should do that. The first date is not when you tell them about how your dad died and subsequently you got hooked on drugs and subsequently you tried to commit suicide, and then all of a sudden, that's a lot. That's a lot for anybody on the first date.
Yes, totally.
So just keep it cool, keep it casual. Don't get too rushy. If you're looking for a long-term relationship, consider this. If you're looking to spend the rest of your life with someone, one date barely matters.
Right. Just take it one date at a time.
One date at a time. That's it. It's so much easier.
Let me ask you this. If you think this is true, should the guy never be the first person to say, I love you?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Those things are very arbitrary, and they're very old school thinking.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a world now where we see women proposing to men. Listen,
Yes.
if you love each other, just say it. And if you don't love someone and they tell you they love you, I would like to know how you personally handle that, because I have no idea. I'm always the first person to say I love you. So I wouldn't know what to do if someone rejected it. But also be in a place where you make sure you guys are in love.
Right. Well, I just kind of asked these questions because I read this dating book many years ago, and I thought it was really interesting. It was completely different from what people were saying. And that was one of the things that this guy had said in there. And then later I'd known this girl. I like to read things and then observe my environment and see if it's true or not. And so I had known this girl, and she was dating this guy. And then he had told her that he loved her, and it was over for her.
That's crazy.
Once that happened, it was over, completely over. And I was like, whoa, this guy was, obviously it's only one example. So, but by the time I was like, whoa, this guy must be totally right on, because I was so shocked to see that. And she flat out told me that it was over.
Ugh. Maybe she didn't feel the same way. That seems like it sounds like something that could happen. And when it comes to the dating world, I discount nothing. I've heard the craziest stories, and I don't know. If you love someone and they say I love you, regardless of the gender, be honest. That you could have missed out on the best relationship of your life because you were too wrapped up in gender roles to figure something out.
Right. Let me ask you this. Why do you think a lot of women are attracted to abusive guys?
They can't help it. A lot of abusive guys... Well, I don't think any guy comes off right out the bat and says, hey, I'm going to beat the shit out of you.
You're right.
You know what I mean? They can't help it. They don't know that until they get into it. And once you get into it, you're so far in that you don't believe you deserve anybody else.
Right. Do you think it's also an unconscious attraction to maybe power? Because I feel do you think
Sometimes.
It's true? And do you think it's true that women are more attracted to power than they are looks?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's very true. I just think when it comes to abuse, though, it's a little different, because power means you can command a room. It doesn't mean you have to punch somebody to get their respect. Right. You know what I mean? So when we talk about abuse versus power, abuse is just control and manipulation. There's no power. You're not powerful because you punch somebody. You're an asshole. Right, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I just thought maybe, someone who's abusive may have some of those power characteristics. Yeah. So they're kind of falling for that attraction. Maybe the girl at some point thinks, well, maybe I can be the one to change him. Yeah, you can't. If he's hit you, if he hit his past wife, he's going to hit you, and he's going to hit his next wife. You know what I mean? It's very simple. And like I said, most men don't come off, or even women, because I've seen some abusive women before, and a lot of them don't come off as abusive, and superficially they come off as literally perfect. But they have that one flaw and that one flaw is they smack you across the room and make you feel like you're nothing. Wow. That's interesting. Very interesting. All right. You got any more? We had done 5. Can you keep going?
Yeah, I probably could if I think about it for a second. Let's see. One reason you wouldn't get the first date is because you're not having a conversation, you're interrogating. So when you meet the person and you start talking, it's not a normal flowing conversation like we're having right now. It's just question after question. So what's your favorite color? Red. What about you? What are you studying in school? This. What about you? What are you doing now? What do you do? It's an interrogation. And that is just weird. It's not how conversation works. So when you do that for someone, they're like, this guy or this girl is either they're trying to get to know me too fast, or they just don't understand social cues. But either way, I'm not. I can't. I can't.
All right. We have another question here. It's largely a mothering instinct. Women think that they can fix a bad boy, plus they're more exciting. Do you agree with that?
Exciting in the term of danger, yes, but exciting, and call me crazy, but a very happy life is exciting to me. You know what I mean? Right. So I think when we think about the word exciting, we need to change the definition when it comes to that, because being smacked or someone walking in the door one day and hoping they don't hit you or you're going to have a good day, that's not exciting. That's abusive. And so, in the general sense of the term, yes, it could be considered exciting, but really there's just a very convoluted definition of the word.
Right. You know what's really fascinating to me is I think that sometimes people like to play roles.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw an interview with a guy that was, basically you would say morbidly obese. I think he was in the 400 or 500 pound range. And he had attractive, abnormal weight girlfriends, but they would like to be like, take the role of like nurse or caretaker of him.
Yes. My 600-pound life. That's what happens on almost every freaking episode. You have this literal couch sitting there begging for Doritos, and somebody who is in this relationship where they're not a girlfriend or a boyfriend. They are not even a sister or brother. They're a nurse to this person. And to me, that's sad. I have not cracked the code on that. They say it's for out of love, but to me, if you love somebody, you're going to do what you can to make sure you're giving them the best life by living yours. I have not cracked the code on that. I watch my 600-pound life, trying to study it. I try and read things about it. And all I can get from it is those people just need to feel wanted.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. And this guy that was that very overweight would say that there was, I don't know if it was many women, but at least one woman. I think it was more than one. But what was, I don't know how the right way to put it, but what was exciting sexually for the woman was feeding him.
Like that was
giving him food.
Yes, killing somebody.
Giving him like a box of Twinkies or something and having him eating it was exciting.
Yes. That's terrible, because if you are with somebody who's morbidly obese and you get excited about feeding them, you're literally killing them. Right. So you need to rewire your brain a little bit. And that's where the therapy comes in for a lot of those people. When they do the gastric bypass, they actually have surgery and they have therapy, and you need to get help. If you think that feeding someone who is literally the size of a human, like a king size bed, is sexual, you probably need to go to therapy because you're a murderer.
Yeah, and I think he even said that most people who do go get the gastric bypass surgery, I think at least 50%, maybe even higher, end up in divorce. And I think one of them was the caretaker role. The person couldn't even be the caretaker anymore.
How bad, how awful. And that's why when you're in a relationship or you're looking to develop a relationship, I advocate for therapy, especially when you're getting married and all those things. Because if you can't stand to see the person you're with progressing in life, either A, they're the wrong person for you, or B, you're never going to be happy. So that's why you need to, I always encourage people to get therapy as they go through a relationship, as they break off a relationship. All of that good stuff.
There's some YouTube couples, evil, and I don't know their name, and it's probably, I don't really want to put anybody, run down anybody. But there's one couple, the woman's very attractive, and the guy is, I don't know what his illness is or what his condition is called, but he's in a wheelchair. He can, he's got a great personality. He's very witty and funny, but his body is tiny. He's got a normal size head, but he has difficulty holding it up. And she just picks him up and carries him around, and it makes you want. I mean, I don't know if I don't think they're married. Maybe they're married now, but that's another relationship. And maybe he's an amazing person.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds like genuine love.
Yeah, genuine love or whatever. And on your first look at it, you're kind of like, okay, why is she with him? Or, and other similar relationships. Do you think those are generally, and also maybe this is a YouTube relationship and these people are pretty famous and making a lot of money.
That's true. Money can save just about anyone. No, I'm joking. But seriously, I think when it comes to physical ailments, not morbid obesity, but we talk physical ailments, like cerebral palsy and things like that. I think there's some genuine love there. Sometimes you meet them before their issue. Sometimes you meet them after, and you fall in love with the person. You don't fall in love with their body or what the body can and can't do. This is someone you can stay up all night and talk to. This is someone who you can make $1 million on YouTube with. This is someone you can build with. And sometimes if you can't get physical, I'm sure there's some rules in there or whatever, but I mean, you can overcome that. Remember, physical appearance isn't a big thing. The only issue I have with the caretaker role when it comes to people who are caretaking and they're neglectfully caretaking, that's a fetish that's unhealthy.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Speaking of fetishes, is there like
Yes.
people that come across yours that they have this certain thing that they're looking for? Is that a common thing that you see within your Girls Ask Guys anything?
Yeah, we have people who ask about fetishes a lot. We've done one show on fetishes because honestly, there's not too much to say about it. It's consensuality, and there's a place called FetLife, which is a entire website devoted to fetishes. We don't dabble too much into talking about them unless we have a really good sex therapist, because it's not our place. And really, I believe I don't give a shit. That's as long as it's consensual, it's none of my business. Your kinks are none of my business. I don't care.
Right.
Slap each other, choke each other, whatever. But
Right.
make sure everybody's having a good time.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
I'm the same way. Yeah. What you do in your
I don't have to do it with you.
No.
Right. I don't have to do it with you.
All right, well, let me ask you this. And I got another question here. Thanks to Two Dudes Reviews, is describe your ideal first date.
My ideal first date? I'm very cheap. So my ideal first date usually involves a park, and it involves a pretzel cart.
Okay.
And a lot of talking. I'm a talker. I enjoy talking and I enjoy having conversations. It doesn't mean we have to get super deep. We can talk about a movie for an hour, or, something you're obsessed with. Like, I am very in love with Harry Potter and the entire series. So I could talk to someone about Harry Potter for hours and they can talk back to me. And we don't have to know everything about each other, but we come out making each other a little more tolerable in our lives. And I want to see you again. Right. Versus like, hey, let's just go sit and eat and talk with our mouths full, which is disgusting. Or let's go to a movie where we don't get to know anything about each other. We just go see a movie.
Right. Yeah. I totally agree with you. I mean, I think those old traditional going to dinner or especially a movie makes no sense.
It's expensive. Don't do that. Don't set up dates. Start with free and then build up.
And then, you might already be setting the whole date up as like, I don't know what people, but they think, okay, I bought you this and I bought you dinner. I bought you a movie. Now I'm expecting sex in return. It's almost like, well, then if you're just paying, you might as well go pay for a prostitute or something.
Exactly. And I firmly believe in transactional relationships. It's one thing we talk about a lot is there's a difference between an emotional and a transactional relationship. If you say, listen, I'm rich, you're pretty, let's do this. And I will, as long as you're at every function and we have sex every so often, I will make sure that your life is taken care of. Right. As long as you do that, I mean, that's consensual. Right. Yeah. That's love for some people, Right. So you just have to define it.
Would you say that that's basically what these sugar babies are?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, they don't say it, but I mean, it appears
that's and there's nothing wrong with that, though. Like, do it. Yeah. If I knew what I knew 20 years ago or 10 years ago, I probably would have did it for a little while, get my college paid for, and all I got to do is give someone a hand job. Like, come on. Right. Yeah. It beats student loans. Yeah, that's for sure.
Let's see. So that is would you think, do you ever have to, what's the word I want to use? Would you have to, I don't know why I can't think of the word, but when you are, maybe counsel's the right word. Do you feel like you're counseling people, and do you counsel people on their expectations of a first date?
We counsel them more on the lines of being prepared completely for the first date. And we don't believe, we say no expectations, none whatsoever. You don't expect them to have a good time because they might not. And if you try, you don't expect them to kiss you. You don't expect them to pay. And we tell it to both men and women, bring money for both of you. Right. And for yourself, at least. You know what I mean? Make sure that's covered. Have some conversation topics ready. But if it gets stale, say, I'm sorry, can we start over? Right. And just say it like that. If things are weird, be like, listen, this is weird. Let's just start over. You know what I mean? Right. And when I say don't expect them to have a good time, obviously plan something fun. But if they say, I don't like the beach, and you plan on going to the beach, make a U-turn. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it just don't prepare yourself, but don't expect anything.
Right. Do you think it's more healthy or a better idea to, become friends with people like through your dating app first before meeting up front? That way, it's kind of like, you kind of already get to know the person and now I want to meet them in person, or is it better to just jump right in and meet them in person?
It depends on what you're looking for, actually. If you're looking for a hookup, jump on in. Right. You know what I mean? Like, we don't even need to exchange addresses. Meet me in this parking lot and we're good to go. But if you're looking to really build a relationship with someone, get to know them a little bit. Don't get too deep into it. Actually, with the whole COVID-19 thing, you probably will get to know them very well because you're in lockdown for 60 days. You can't see each other. 60 days is a long time to talk to somebody. So, get to know them, and then say, hey, when this is over, let's meet up.
Right. All right. That's great. You have a lot of great advice. Yeah. All right. Anything else? Can I pick your brain here with?
Of course.
Any other gems of knowledge you have about why you're not getting a date?
There was one. It was literally on the top of my head. I should have just screamed it out. There was one. Oh my gosh. Your car is dirty.
Your car is dirty.
Your car is dirty. When you go pick somebody up and your car is dirty, they're not going to call you back because you're going on a date for 2 hours and you couldn't even clean your car.
Oh, interesting.
Clean your car. Like, it's very simple. Anything that is very simple is something you need to think about. We make sure we go over hygiene. We even go over fashion to a certain degree. I'm not big into fashion. My fashion is kind of like, is it clean? John's very big into fashion. He's very fashionable. He's got all the shirts and all this stuff. But we teach, every style is different. As casual as I am, I know how to get, if I need to go to some sort of black tie event, I know how to dress. So we make sure that people are dressing appropriately. I'm trying to think of other things we cover that would stop someone from getting a first date. I said interrogation. And
Let me ask you, what about this? Is like, what if you meet somebody, have you ever come across this? You guys chat a lot, online, and then when you meet the person, for some reason and when you're physically there with them, they're like crazy shy, or they can't talk. And it's like, okay, I was just talking with you on the phone or online, like a normal conversation, but in real life, the person's afraid to speak. Is that something common that you find?
Oh yeah, it happened. It happened to me once when I was on a first date. And what I did was I said, listen, I will ask you a question. You text me the answer. And when you finally decide to start talking, then we can have a conversation.
Wow.
Worked perfectly.
And did they actually start finally talking?
Because I said something really funny and they couldn't help but laugh.
Oh.
And so then it was like, I heard your voice. Let's keep it going. And then you just get them really comfortable. And that's if you really like someone. Now, if you're like on the fence, and you're like, I don't really feel like putting effort into this, then you don't have to do that. But I really like the person. So I decided I'm going to make this work. And that's what I did.
All right, let me ask you this. What made you decide that you really liked the person to put the effort in?
It was a combination. I'm a family person. They're a family person. I'm very big on family. And also, I have a love for Harry Potter that knows no bounds, and it's very unhealthy. And they have a love of Parks and Recreations that loves no bounds, and it's very unhealthy. And to see somebody understand what it means to be a psycho fan is amazing, but also somebody who, when I can't sleep, they answer the phone.
Right.
When I'm tired and I go through these weird spurts of energy, and I'm what most people call manic. It's not really manic. I just can't sleep. They're there. And somebody who puts in effort to be my friend before we're even dating and to be my best friend lets me know that there's potential there. If you're putting in minimal effort, I'm going to put in minimal effort. But to see someone match my intensity pretty well, if not surpass it sometimes, is amazing. And I would never turn that down.
Oh, interesting. And it's interesting when you start talking about friends too. I was like, it brought us back to like number 2. Like, okay, is it real friends or fake friends?
Is it? Yeah, it's very hard to tell. I think usually when people pretend to be your friend, what'll happen is they'll subtly hint at being in a relationship with you, even if you say no. That's funny. Haha, I'm not into it. And they'll keep doing it and keep pressing it. And you just have to say, listen, I don't want this. If this is something you want, I'm sorry, I can't give it to you. And you have 2 options. You can either respond and say, I understand, I'm sorry, I'll stop. And you can continue to look for other people because whether you realize it or not, there are other people in this world. Yeah. Or you can respond negatively and lose a really good friend.
Right.
Those are your options.
Do you recommend to date lots of people at this, not being in a serious committed relationship, but go out and meet many, many people till you find somebody that you really like? I mean, go on dates and, you're not, like I said, you're not misleading people by saying, I'm going to be, committed to you. I just went on a date with you. Do you recommend for people to go on lots and lots of dates, and then that way they can meet all kinds of people and decide who they really like? Or
it depends on your personal boundaries. I am a serial monogamist. I do not do all that extra dating. I will wait until I find someone I am into, and that's it. And if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I am exhausted by people. I talk for a living, basically. So if I have to talk to anyone else who I don't want to be around, I can't do it. But if you're a serial dater, you can do that. It just depends on your personal boundaries as who you are. If you're a serial monogamist, don't go on a bunch of dates, because what's going to happen is you're probably going to meet 3 or 4 people that you really like. If you're a serial dater, you can do that, and then you can find that one person you like. So it's just about your boundaries and how you're able to understand, and you have to know yourself well enough to say, listen, I can do this or I can't. It's all about honesty.
Right.
Internal honesty.
Do you watch those shows like, well, actually my wife and I recently watched a Netflix show, and it was
I watch them all.
There was a Netflix show about they never
Love is
see.
Blind?
Yeah, that one. And what did you think about that show?
We have a 3-part series on that show. Actually,
wow.
Yeah. Simply because that show gives me so much anxiety. It is the dumbest show I've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
I understand how people can say, this seems really smart. Here's the problem with meeting people and getting married in 45 days.
Right.
You've been alive for how many days?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and you fall in love with this person behind some glass, and they are all of a sudden the love of your life after 2 days. Sure, we've all had those May, December romances that are wonderful, but guess what? They just blow the hell up. And for like you saw in the show, 2 relationships worked out.
Right.
Out of 10. And that's the thing. Of course, take the leap. I don't see anything wrong with taking the leap of saying, oh, I want to go on Love is Blind. I might meet my soulmate. But you need to be really realistic about this. Right. Soulmate is a very strong word, but not only that, they could be lying. I mean, and there was one woman, Jennifer, I think that was her name. I can't stand her. She just basically said yes to this guy because the other guy said no to her.
Yeah, I remember
and then
that.
They ended up not getting married, and this kid really cared about her a lot, and she just kind of played him, and it was on national TV. So not only did you just expose who you were as a human to the rest of us, but you just threw this man through the ringer just to be famous, and that's not okay.
Right. What was interesting is, did you see the one where they met up like a year later? And it appeared like that guy was still trying to hook up with her again.
Right. Like, dude, we said she needs a little less self-esteem and he needs a little more. Yeah. She really believed that she could lead this man on and take him through his whole rigmarole. And it was just awful. And then there was Kelly. Kelly was terrible, too, because she told him she wasn't sexually attracted to him and still tried to marry him. Wow. And that's not okay. You can't do that. And then the only 2 couples who survived were the only 2 who were honest with each other, who talked about money. They talked about credit scores. Right. They talked about all the things you need to know before you kind of take someone's last name or give someone yours.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette? Are those like totally fake to you? Just like
probably
totally scripted, totally fake. It's just
they've got to be. They should be. I hope they are.
Right.
I think it's just a bunch of pretty people getting drunk for a month, and people love it. I mean, people love the drama of love. It's a whole entire category, rom-com. So it's great. I think they're great entertainment, but I don't necessarily think that's the best way to meet somebody in a competition.
Right. There was one other show that I used to watch, and you probably know of it. It was I think it was called Love at First Sight or something like that.
Yeah, that was on Netflix too, I'm pretty sure.
That was I'm trying to remember how that was set up. That was like they saw someone else is like they took all these tests and like FBI tests, blah blah blah, and they just automatically hooked people up with each other.
Oh, I don't think I saw. I would remember that.
And all of a sudden they met him on their wedding day.
Oh, okay, that's
on their wedding
alarming.
Day they met. That was I think that was it. That was why it was at first sight. They met on their wedding day. They just trusted in the process that they would pick the right person for them out of all this kind of, all this kind of a barrage of psychological testing.
I do not want anyone who can match me in a psychological test, because I don't know what the pairing entails, but one of us might choke the other one to death.
Right. And I think it's kind of like any other show, like maybe 2 out of 5 or 2 out of 7 would work, and some of them wouldn't work. But and it's interesting that it appeared though on those shows that looks, even though they didn't say, looks really mattered for some people.
Oh yeah,
even
some people
women,
are very superficial. Of
even
course,
women. But then some of them, after they got to know each other, it would kind of worked out because it was what they really wanted.
Right, and that's why I say, like, if your personality is great, usually looks can be overlooked. Usually, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's superficial people. Some people are super superficial. It is okay to be that, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's the thing is, we pigeonhole people to say, if you have this trait in your life, you're a bad person. If you have this one, you're a good person. The truth is, you're just a freaking person either way. So if you're superficial, just be honest and say, listen, I'm superficial. I'm looking for, Johnny Six-Pack and whatever. But if you're looking for Johnny Six-Pack, you need to be Gretchen Flat Tummy. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be, like, it's just the way it is.
Don't expect it, yeah. All right, we got another question here from Two Dudes Reviews. He says, I'm a musician. Does that say anything on a dating profile when a person says they're a musician? Like, would it give him, is that a plus?
Are you a successful musician?
A plus or minus? So that's a good one. He'll probably answer that. It is, are you a success? So success matters as a musician.
Yes.
I mean, does that mean if you're a rock star, or because there's only, there's only less than 1% of the musicians are rich and famous.
Successful meaning you have, even if you have a job and you play at a bar on Tuesday nights with your band, and that's the way you guys make $35, and that's the way you kind of just unwind. To me, that's a successful musician in the terms of you're not like going to get into a relationship and mooch off somebody because you believe you're going to make it one day.
Right.
That's to me successful to a certain degree. That's what I mean by successful. I don't mean, do you have a record deal with Virgin Records? No, obviously you don't. Right. But are you able to support yourself while you're doing music?
Right. So, let's go back to his question. Is that general music? I mean, just in general, if a woman sees the word musician, is that good or bad, you think?
It's interesting, but it'll get her interested, yes. But if you are not, if you just say, I'm a musician, I play guitar with my band, that's what I do all day, smoke weed and I play guitar, I have no job or no prospects, it's a negative. Right. If you are like, I'm a freaking, even if you smoke weed every day, honestly, and you are able to hold down a job and you say, I play with my band all the time, it's good. So it's interesting, but how it appears or how it is going to determine if it's a positive or a negative.
Right. What do you think about this? And I have a feeling of what you're going to answer, but we'll see. What if they say gamer?
Everyone's a gamer.
Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. Because
Everyone's a gamer.
I thought that gamer would in these days for a younger crowd. Yes, for let's say 40 and up, gamer might be like,
it might be a little taboo for 40 and up. But for us, I mean, we all game, and even if it's not like PC Master Race, and you're not playing Xbox, you got something on your phone. You have Call of Duty Mobile. You know what I mean? Like, gaming's not a big deal.
So gamer's not okay. Or a what do you think about people who, if they find somebody that's say a live stream gamer or a YouTuber or whatever, is that a plus or minus?
Honestly, actually, I'd say it's a plus.
It's a plus.
YouTube's huge. Yeah. YouTube's huge. Even if you have 100 subscribers, it's still cool to someone who has none.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
And if they do have a decently thriving YouTube channel, they're going to be like, well, even if I'm not interested, let's collab. So either way, it's a plus for you guys. You know what I mean? Like, that's how that works.
Right. All right. That's pretty cool. All right. You got any more for me?
Probably. Reasons you're not getting callbacks after, and I'll think of ones you're not getting callbacks after first date. So,
and can you think of something? Let me ask you this: is there some pattern that we haven't discussed already? That, especially with your girls ask guys questions, or actually, let me think about this. If you can think of it, what is the most common question girls are asking guys that you see over and over again?
How can I tell if a guy likes me?
Oh, interesting.
How can I tell if a guy likes me? And it's usually, well, he flirts with me, I think, but I'm not sure. And it's usually, believe it or not, it's a coworker. It's always, for some reason, it's always a coworker. And they're like, I think we're flirting, but I'm not sure. How do I get to know? And I always say, ask him. Or, you know, and people aren't as forward. I'm very forward. I don't diddle daddle. I only have a certain amount of time or years on this earth. I need to know what's going on. Right. But if you're afraid to ask them, you know, go hang out with them. Hang out with a group, you know, group hang from work, and then you guys will be able to talk. You'll be able to spend some time together. But that's usually the most asked question when it comes to girls. How do I know if he likes me? When it comes to guys, it's how do I get a girl to like me?
Yeah.
That's so sad. It makes me sad.
Yeah. That's a very, that makes 100% sense to me.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. What about that? Do you caution against dating people at work, or you think it's a good idea or bad idea, or it doesn't matter?
I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's a irresponsible idea if you both have a very long-term, you know, idea with the company. I think it's irresponsible because if it goes south, it's going to go south and everybody's going to know about it. Right. And also, if you date someone else in the office, you're going to be known as the office mattress, whether you're a man or a woman. So if you guys are emotionally mature enough to establish that kind of relationship, go for it. But if you're not, then don't even venture. Right.
I like that word, the office mattress. I've never heard that before. That's a good one. Let's see. No. And I thought I might have another question, but I don't. You know, I don't know. I mean, I picked at your brain so well. We've got the most asked question. What about the weirdest question? Have you ever had something that you just remember? That was the weirdest question someone ever asked me. The strangest question.
Someone said, I remember this because I just was like, this is so dumb. Someone said, I'm trying to develop an emotional connection with someone. Do I sext up the relationship? Mm-hmm. You don't. I'm going to tell you guys right now, it does not matter what you think you should do. Right. Sending pictures of your genitals is not forming an emotional. Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize what that word meant.
Yes, sending pictures of your genitals is not a way to form any emotional attraction to anyone ever. Right. Don't do it. It's weird, and I don't know who's teaching young men that they should just send pictures of their genitals. But please stop listening to that person because it's not only creepy; it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm surprised people do that because I mean anybody can show that to anybody else.
Right, but it's very common. It's uncomfortably common to the point where there's like groups on Facebook like Show His Mom is one of them, and it's just a group. Yeah, it's just a group of people who say, you know, guys will say, "Can I show you my genitals?" and you'll say no, and they send them anyway, and they'll put your name out there and they show your mom.
Oh wow, this is on Facebook.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I could see that on Reddit, but
they blur it out. Obviously, they blur out the genitals, but they make sure that the guy's mom is informed that her son is running around showing everybody her genitals.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. You know, what's interesting is today I'm surprised that people even do anything online. You know, as far as whatever all these video chat rooms and.
People don't understand the idea of forever.
Yeah. Well, also, like I said, if you're in a video chat room and, whatever, I don't know, whatever you're doing without any clothes on, whatever could be happening, someone could somehow screen record you and they've got you. You know what I mean? It's kind of, to me, such a dangerous thing. I'm surprised.
It is the dumbest thing.
And I'm surprised. I think a lot of it, I'm not in, I don't know, but I think, I think a lot of it's going on. And I read an article recently about with all the quarantine, more of it's going on than ever.
Oh yeah, people are horny. That's all it is.
And like I said, it's just such a dangerous.
It's very dangerous and very. It's just not smart. The internet is forever, literally forever. Even if you delete the video, it's not gone. Mm-hmm. And if someone's screen recording you, I can guarantee you, if they're screen recording you secretly, they're probably going to show somebody.
Of course, yeah. Unless you want to be out there.
Right. And if that's your thing, then that's your thing. Because it is a very lucrative business also. Mm-hmm. Let's not forget that. Porn's $1 billion industry.
Right.
But if you're not trying to get screen recorded on the internet, don't get on the internet. And it's not so much a victim blaming thing as it is a people shaming thing where people are garbage and they will do bad things.
Oh, yeah. Either that or revenge, I guess.
Right. Oh, revenge porn's a real thing, too.
Yeah, that's like really huge out there. It's terrible that happens.
It is terrible.
Okay. Well, you have given us a lot of great insight.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you spending time with me today.
Of course. Thanks for having me on, man. It's super awesome.
And
if you ever want to do this again, let me know.
And maybe next time we'll talk about Harry Potter.
You don't have enough time.
All right. Well, thank you so much again, and have a good evening, and take care of yourself.
Bye. You too.
Bye-bye.